from the National Association of Community Legal Centres. Helen was admitted as a solicitor in 1982 and has worked in Albury-Wodonga, Warrnambool, Armidale and Corowa. From 1999 to 2009, she focused on community legal practice in what is now known as the Hume Riverina Community Legal Service. She has taught law at the University of New England, Charles Sturt, La Trobe and ANU, sorry, long day. Currently she lives on a farm near Yackandandah in northeast Victoria, where she is working on not one but two projects with the National Association of Community Legal Centres, which are aimed at supporting lawyers in their careers in rural, regional and remote areas. Without further ado, Helen McGowan.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to finish this in 15 minutes and knock off, and thank God it's Friday. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you to the Progressive Law Network for the invitation, for the energy of the ideas, to be sharing a panel with these system people here. And it's just such a great privilege to be part of a practice community that talks about values and cares enough to think about what can we do about the future. I feel tremendously privileged to be where I am today. Little secret, I don't know, but I went to Monash, I did arts law, and I failed 5th year. I failed 5 subjects in 5th year. And that probably just affirms the thing that working in the bush is a low status lawyer job sort of thing. But for me, it's been, eventually when I got through my law degree, which was I had articles lined up and then 2 summer schools back to back, I had to cancel my overseas trip, ended up getting married, staying in the bush. Now I'm at ANU doing my PhD on what makes a happy lawyer. So it's sort of like a crazy career, and in that I've had 3 daughters who the first thing they want to do is leave the bush as quickly as they could, and please don't bring me back here again. So I guess I'm not pretending to have any answers. What I have is the privilege of working with a team of people who reckon it's important to work in regional Australia. And so that's essentially what's going on today. So we call it extreme lawyering, and when I was talking to my flatmate, he's a graduate in the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, he said, oh, that would scare him off. Why would he go and work in the bush when it's extreme? So I did a quick look. Extreme, reaching a high or the highest degree, very great, exceptional, denoting or relating to a sport performed in a hazardous environment, furthest from the centre or a given point. Alright, so I reckon it's extreme. But mostly what I'm saying is in our projects, the lawyers that we see in the community sector are often young lawyers, and they go out there for the adventure, and they have great heart, great ability, and most of all, what they're faced with is a system that is just not there. So if you're looking for challenge and meaningful work and making a difference in your community and you're resilient, chances are you'll find it in the bush. So we've got quite a few takeaways today. Up the end, I've got this pack. Yeah, I can just say, Roy, thank you, Roy. And just an acknowledgement for Roy. When we set up the Albury-Wodonga Community Legal Service, we went down to Warrnambool, and Roy told us what to do, how to set it up. And that was based on the Springvale Monash model. And we learn a lot there, which is basically about the power of community and the power of the non-lawyers to make a difference. So anyway, rrlaw.com.au. There's some here, there's some on the chair outside. It's a joint project between the National Association of Community Legal Centres and the Law Council of Australia, and it's got a DVD in it and the website. It basically tells a story. Now the thing that I'm most proud about is the private profession and the public and the community professions together. So we've got examples of Aboriginal Legal Service, Shepparton, Broome, judges, people who are committed to the bush and making a difference. So there's some nice stories in that. Okay, so basically, when I look at this map, like I had this warm fuzzy feeling because I love the shape of Australia. But best of all, I love the fact that this map tells me, and in my supervisor said, what do you mean by triple R? Like, what is rural, regional, remote Australia? And the only definition, that's the good definition, is this thing called the ARIA Plus Index, which people who are on youthie might know about it, inner regional, outer regional, whatever. Anyway, the red spots are called major cities. Anyone know the population of Australia at the moment? What are we looking at? 22 million. How many in the major cities? 15 million.
Oh, in total, yeah.
Yeah, total in the major cities. So, like, you can see where they are. Basically, I was talking before whether Wollongong qualifies as rural, but no, it's actually a major city. So the bottom line is that everything that's not red on that map, we're calling it rural, regional, remote, and 7 million people live there, which is, I know, stats might not interest other people, but the next thing is, how many lawyers do we have in Australia at the moment? Any idea? Okay, so there is a feeling that there are too many lawyers, and we know people doing research on that. Anyway, I rang the Law Council. How many lawyers? They said, look, we don't know, really. You've got to go and ask our constituent members, which is all the bar councils and law societies. So I did. It took a few months. But I can now tell you that there are 62,806 practicing lawyers in Australia. Okay. Actually, I'll come back to that stat. This is just Sydney or the bush. So this is the same when I first met my husband and I said, let's go to Sydney and have a great weekend. He said, why would you want to go to Sydney? He's a country guy. Anyway, so that's the stat about how many people in the city and how many in the country. And the next thing is, well, where are they living? So the blue bit is the city. The red bit is what we call inner regional, which is places like Ballarat, Albury-Wodonga. The green bit is outer regional, and then we've got remote and very remote. Now that probably doesn't interest you at all, but the thing is, where are the lawyers? Like, obviously, there might be a few in the very remote, and those lawyers are going to be the Aboriginal Legal Service lawyers. So the Aboriginal Legal Service lawyers, which is another issue. But just briefly what it is typically junior, under-resourced, and I'm going to say under-supported. And there's a real issue there about how Australia tolerates the funding for the Aboriginal Legal Service, and as we heard before, the Family Violence Prevention and Legal Service, it is atrocious. We need to be outraged about the funding for the Aboriginal Legal Services and the lack of, I'm going to think, the lack of support that's out there. Anyway, okay, so here's my thing about the lawyers. The one on the right, the number of regional lawyers, 6,944 regional lawyers. Now, again, the law societies don't really care, they just say, I say, how do you define regional? And there's no definition. But the bottom line is that with the research that we're doing, we actually want to know, are there enough lawyers in the country? And we have a very strong feeling, no, not only are there not enough lawyers, but the systems out there are not sufficient to support them. So the whole thing is, so what? This is always a question, big deal, who cares? So there was some work done by the New South Wales Law and Justice Foundation in 2009, 2010, that just for New South Wales, there's 19 local government communities that don't have any lawyers. Now, is it a big deal? Does it matter? I don't know. Has anyone ever done research about whether it's good to have lawyers in a community or not? Maybe we have less conflict. Maybe we're less adversarial. But the thing is, coming back to the Aboriginal Legal Service issue, we do have more conflicts of interest where in rural communities, because you live in your community, your family, your friends, you're maybe one or two lawyers there and you tend to know people. So it's really important that this idea of, Roy was mentioning before, but also David Mann, this idea of osmosis, like if you've got the big end of town with talent, we need them in the bush. It doesn't mean they've got to come out there, but maybe with the National Broadband Network money that's just been announced, or other things, we can actually get more flow through of talent. So you may not have to move to the bush to be a bush lawyer. The second thing is the lawyers working in these communities say they are overworked and have trouble recruiting lawyers to either help or to take over the reins. So the Victorian Law Institute at the moment has got a roadshow in regional areas because we've got an aged profession and they want to retire, and there's no one to take over the reins. So that really touches again on system issues, which for me it's about, if you're going to go and work in the bush, who's going to look after you?